Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of whatever I'm going to end up calling this. So, events have transpired, and I need to very, very quickly get this Ork Combat Patrol painted. So, I'm going to go through it, and I just thought I'm trying to sort of do this as a new player perspective, and I figure, you know what? Let's show a new player how to paint a combat patrol quickly, fairly easily. Mainly also because I'm doing Bad Moon, so I can show people how I do my yellows. I do a very, very easy yellow, and yeah, thought it'd be pretty good. It's gonna be the entire combat patrol, and I also have the Black Library, Uthak Bloodhawk here, uh, Uthak Blackhawk, whatever. Yeah, he's gonna be in there as well. I'm not gonna be using him as in the thing. Though he does have the same base size as the Mega Boss, I might use him instead of the Mega Boss. We'll see how things go. Oh, God, brightness. Yeah. Like I say, I just think it'd be good to show people. It's easy to paint stuff, and I think it's quite fun as well. So yeah, I'm going to time myself. Not including. I'm going to be doing other things as well, just letting paint dry in the meantime. But yeah, cool. Let's get going. So we're starting off easy. Doing the skin. Absolutely all skin. I'm just doing as Strachen green. I think it's a nice neutral green. It gives a fairly cool, realistic look. Obviously, other greens work for different looks. But yeah, that's it. I forgot to do the grot. The grot I'm going to do Krieg khaki. I will do that and then go back next time because grots I like doing considerably lighter than the rest of the force. But yeah, we are currently on about 35 minutes worth of work as we go into inking everything. So, first up, yes, you may have noticed I've had a bit of a spill. Um, I'm leaving it there because, quite honestly, this is the only Agrax shade I've got, so I'm going to have to use it off the table now. Always put a mat down. But yeah, the other orcs, Uthak Blackhawk and the other mob are on a table over there. There you go. Ta-da! Uh, and yeah, here we are. The ink is still drying, like I have literally just finished. But yeah, that is Strachen green with Agrax Earthshade for the boys, Nuln Oil for the bosses, and yeah, Krieg khaki and Athonian camo shade for the grots. And yeah, I think it makes them look pretty good. Yeah, that is all the skin done. I'm let's be real here. There's no point highlighting these guys. I mean, if you want to go to like competition standard, you are going to need to do this, but they are going to look good enough on the table. And I'm only painting to a tabletop standard. Yeah, we are 59 minutes. That's 58 minutes and 59 seconds exactly into this, and it's time to start painting the cloth. Okay, we're up to an hour and a half in, and I'm starting with the yellows. Now, I'm going to be doing a dirty yellow on these, so yeah, this is how I do all my yellows, by the way. Started with, I'm basing them just white. It's white scar, and I just do a single quite dirty layer over just the grey. It doesn't need to be particularly clean, doesn't need to be particularly solid. In fact, I would argue for a dirty white, you want this to look slightly uncomfortable. Um, just slightly wrong anyway. Yeah, something not wrong. Uncovered. That was the word I was looking for. Aha. Also, because I don't think orcs should look even slightly uniform. I've done this for everything apart from the knobs and the heavy weapons guys. I've alternated t-shirts and trousers. The knobs and heavy weapons lads are all getting yellow tops because, let's be honest here, they're baboons. Ufthak is getting a yellow cape as well. Yeah, the two helicopters are avoiding the spill. So yeah, on to the first stage, which is after this, which is them just inking the entire thing, the entire section you want to be yellow. Agrak's Earthshade. Yeah, we are up to 1 hour and 42 minutes. And yeah, the Agrak's Earthshade is on. I'm not counting drying time for this, by the way. Just, yeah. The just the amount of time it actually takes to paint. I'm going to be doing each individual section at a time. If I wasn't, what I would almost certainly be doing now is moving on to the opposite side, because I'm going to be painting the bits that aren't going to be yellow, different shades of blue, but I'm going to do them separately, mainly so I can, just more as a tutorial thing. I'd be like doubling up, doing like different paint bits at the same time, letting one part dry as the other part goes on. And yeah, still they are, as you can see, they're starting to come together already. This is well the part where, as a new painter, a lot of people get to around this stage, don't think it's coming together, and start giving up. What I would suggest for this, I haven't done it for this because I'm doing the entire box, but do one basic infantry model first, get it completed so you can conceptualize what it's going to look like for the rest. But like I painted so many orcs. I believe this gets me up to over 200 orc boys I painted. So yeah, I know where I'm going with this. So I didn't do that bit. But yeah, okay, going to leave these to wait. Going to leave these to dry because you want to let the Agrak's Earthshade dry. It needs to be bone dry before you do the next stage. So yeah, see y'all in a bit. And here is it, the first yellow. There's going to be multiple yellows in this tutorial. Most of them follow the same basic thing of white base ink and then another ink and then yellow ink on top. Specifically Cassandora yellow, the GW ink. But yeah, I think it gives a quite nice. I mean, it's meant to be a dirty yellow, so it looks. Some of the yellows I'll do in the future, later on, are going to be cleaner, sort of brighter yellows. But yeah, next up is I'm going to split these models up, and they are going to have, the other half of them are going to be painted either because they're bad moons. So either going to be black, which is going to be Abaddon black, dry brushed Dawnstone. It's going to be a denim, which is going to be Fenrisian grey inked Agrak's Earthshade, or it's going to be a darker blue, which is Macragge blue. I have lost it. It's around here somewhere, but a darker blue inked Drakenhof Nightshade. And I'm going to essentially randomly select models. There's going to be a few bits like in my own head. I don't know why I do this, but all leaders in my orc armies always wear jeans, so they're all going to have the Fenrisian grey one. And yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll get back after I have got the first layer down. Oh, they are slowly coming together, but the light is slowly getting worse. Yeah, we're 2 hours and 20 minutes in. The base coats for the second part of the clothing has been done. It's Fenrisian Grey, Alfdorf Guard Blue, and just Abaddon Black. And now I'm going to ink them. Well, I'm going to ink this one, Agrax Earthshade, as seen here. This one, Drakenhof Nightshade, and I'm going to dry brush this one, just Dawnstone. Just have it grey, make it look more like sort of dark leather. And yeah, we are gradually getting closer. Like it's coming. I think it looks like they're coming along. Like especially when I start, putting them back into mobs again. So yeah, cool. What a difference some ink makes. So yeah, that is some Agrax Earthshade on Fenrisian Grey. That is Drakenhof Nightshade on Altdorf Guard Blue, and Dawnstone dry brushed over Abaddon Black. So yeah, we have got. I mean, they're kind of coming together. This is like the hardest part. It's not really hard. It's the longest part because it involves a little bit separating up the boys. Now we can get back to just batch painting everything, and yeah, we're going to go into the leathers, which are they going to be Gorthor Brown and Inks Nuln Wheel. It's not particularly long or complicated. There's just the problem with orcs. This is the bit that, especially for orcs, is going to get a lot of people if they are covered in a lot of greebles and straps and everything else. So actually finding them all is harder than you'd think. But it's okay, we'll do it. We can do it together. I believe in us. Right, we are at the 3 hour 15-minute mark. And yeah, all the leather has been batch based, and yeah, lots of browns. Gorthor brown everywhere, and it's time to ink. And the inking is done. I think this is going to be my example model for the rest of the paint job. So yeah, we've got the the inking's all been done now. We are going to be moving on to the metals. We've done all the cloth, the clothes, all the leathers. The metal, basically, the only things we've got left are metal and detailing. So I'd say we're over halfway. We are at 4 hours and 18 minutes to do all of this. So yeah, cool. I reckon, depending on how things go, I reckon we might be able to do this in about 6.5 hours. The dread we still have to actually start, but the dread's going to be surprisingly easy. It's mostly just metal. So yeah, cool. Actually, I've had to take a bit of a break, and I've thought about this. I'm not doing the medals next for reasons which will become obvious. I'm going to do the tongue, the inside of the mouth first. It's a short detour, but it's going to take a little bit. It's basically just going to be a shabty bone. And then I'm going to ink with something you are going to be seeing a lot in the detailing stage, which is I'm going to be using this stuff. It's magenta ink. I got it from from like an art store, and I absolutely swear by this stuff for any reds and pinks. You can get it from Amazon. I got this about 8 million years ago, and it's still going incredibly strong, considering I use it on anything. If you've seen any model I have that has red on it or blood on it, you have seen this model. So yeah, tongues first, and now on to the title card. There you go. It's going to be a nice, quick little detour here, mainly because only most of the orcs are screaming. The The ones that don't have open mouths, you don't need to paint on this bit. But yeah, God, don't they look weird when the tongue isn't finished? I mean, they look weird when the rest of it isn't finished, but this is just vaguely skin colored tongue. I don't know. Very, very weird. But yes, now on to the inking. And there's the inking. Now, I prefer this way to just a flat, just painting the tongue pink or red, mainly because I think it gives a slightly more depth. Like, I think it just, I don't know, it looks a little bit more real. And when you're painting giant green monsters, the important part is the realism. But yeah, also you'll notice I've gone a little bit over the lines. It's okay. That's going to get covered up by just painting all the teeth. Okay, and now we're on to the metals. Hurrah! Okay, the example lads have been joined by their war boss, mainly because we're doing two different types of gold here. The war boss is the with all this big gold on the banner, the chopper, the gob, everything else. That's going to be slightly more in depth. That's going to be inked Agrax Earthshade, and then highlighted with a dry brush of Runefang Steel. The teeth on the lads. Oh, come on, focus, you bastard. They are just going to be. I'm not going to bother inking them. They're just going to be highlighted Runefang Steel to make them look slightly more. Slightly brighter and slightly more goldy. So, I'm going to do the inking first and then onto the highlights. With the ink done, I actually think just Retributor Gold with a layer of Agrax Earthshade makes a really nice like brass color. But yeah, I'm gonna wait for this to dry, and this is gonna get a very light dry brush of Runefang Steel. It lightens it up a little bit, makes it look more gold, and yeah, it's a really nice. It's if you've watched any of my Combat Patrol games, it's the effect I use on the Sisters of Battle, who I've just only just realized, my war boss is going to look like a giant green version of my Sisters of Battle, which is amazing to me. Obviously, a rusty giant Sister of Battle, but still, I'm sure he'll be just as dangerous in combat as they are as well. So, yep, just gotta wait for this to dry and then dry brushing. So we are at 4 hours and 52 minutes in, and we have dry brushed the gold on the all the plating. Also, the dreads finally got some paint on them as well. Everyone's got gold jaw. Actually, he doesn't have gold fangs. He's got a gold jaw, but meh. It's very hard to see, but the all the boys have you don't know have metallic fangs on the lower jaw now. So yeah, that is everything. Again, Deathcopters are off to the side. Okay, next up it is going to be the basically all the rest of the metal. I actually prefer a grimy look to a rusty look with orcs. So all the rest of the metal is going to be Runefang Steel inked. Say it with me, Agrax Earthshade. Woo! But yeah, it's a slightly brighter thing than you might think, but I think it fits orcs fairly well. Orcs should be a little bit bright. So this took an absolute age, but all of the metal has been base coated. To give you a rough idea of what I mean by absolute age, I do in fact mean we are now at 7 hours and 18 minutes in. but the dread's got a cover, all the bosses, the mega knobs completely done. Again, just off to the side right now, the death copters are done. And yeah, next up, it's a song you've heard many times before. It is time for some Agrax Earthshade to make all of this incredibly bright metal suddenly look a whole lot darker. Oh, what a difference an ink wash makes. Actually very near the end now. We've got basically the faces, a few details, and the bases. And yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, so we're 8.5 hours now. Probably done by about 9.5, which, that's a full combat patrol. So also, yeah, the dread looks a lot better once you put him. Yeah, you get the metal on him. Oh, and also one bit I will say that I wasn't quite prepared for is you can't, like, I know it's there, but the difference between the gold and the like murky steel wasn't quite as much of a difference as I was hoping for. But meh, here we are. This is where we are. This is what we're doing. So yeah, now I've got to do the faces. So the teeth, the eyes, and then I'll say the stuff like the wraps on the axe and stuff. I will do after that. So basically, details. Okay, the teeth and eyes have been done. They're fairly easy. I do use an Army Painter focus, insane detail brush, which is barely barely more than a hair thick to paint all this stuff. But you don't have to do eyes. That's just my own insanity here. Yeah, that's basically it. It's like only things we've got left are there's a few details I want to do. But yeah, that's basically also I'm going to do a bunch of work on the dread. The dread basically I'm going to do a load of like war paint and stuff, but that I might do that off screen. I might just do the things, and then the war paint I'll do later. But yeah, for now, I'm going to do yellow for all of the banding, and then we're more or less done. Hooray! And here are all the lads that have any like wires or wraps or greebles on them. Everything has now been painted white. Also, Princess Uthak Squig is also white, and I painted. There's a little Drakari helmet on his thing that I painted purple. Mainly just so I'm getting a lot of the final touches done now. It'll basically be I'm going to do two different types of yellow. One, I'm going to be doing a base ink of, I haven't decided between Seraphim Sepia and Reichland Flesh Shade. They give slightly different yellows, and all the rest of the yellow is going to be a flat Cassandora yellow onto the white itself, which gives, as you may guess, slightly brighter yellows than the this that I've already got on them, while still being a little bit murky, nice murky, good murky. Yeah, now to do all the inking. The first round of inking is done, and I went for Reichland Flesh Shade on the simple deductive reasoning of my Seraphim Sepia is almost out and wouldn't have completed the entire army. I've done some of them. I'm focusing on the two bosses, so you'll be able to see a difference. The Mega Armor boss has Reichland Flesh Shade, and Uthak doesn't have anything basically. So yeah, Uthak's Snaz Hammer is going to be a slightly brighter, more orangey yellow than the war bosses, the mega bosses, regular like gold chopper. Also, little side bit, it's very hard to see, but the I've given the missiles, the rockets on all these, slightly easier to see on this one. Rockets have been painted Nuln oil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint them white. And the way I do white is by doing a base coat of white scar, inking Nuln oil, and then dry brushing white. It doesn't give it a flat white, but it gives a fairly nice sort of grimy white that fits the aesthetic a lot nicer. Yeah, now it is time to coat everything in Kathandora yellow. So there you go. Yeah, this is what this is how it looks with the different like bases. You've got Agrex Earthshade there, Nothing, and Reichland Flesh Shade. Basically, so long as you put a brown underneath it, it comes across slightly duller, but slightly more sort of, I don't want to say realistic, but you know what I mean. Whereas if you have it just on its own, it's got a very bright, almost orangey yellow to it, which is also, I quite like it. It's quite nice. And yeah, we are coming very dangerously close to the end. Basically, the only bits we got left are we've got to do the bone stuff. And what I'm going to do is, for the rest of this paint job, I am going to pretend I never had Uthak come here, because Uthak has way more detail, as he deserves. Do not get me wrong. But yeah, I'm going to basically do the bones, the bone, like the like teeth and skulls and things that are just dangled around. There's a couple of like lenses and things that I'm also going to paint, but I'm going to paint them all right in one thing, along with the bases. And yeah, we are coming up on the end here. We are at 9 hours, 36 minutes and 24 seconds. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this has gone. Okay, with Gorthor Brown on the base and Ushabti Bone on the bone and all like the other like teeth and things. I've also put I want to say it's Azurmen blue, a neon blue. I'll just move the boss out of the way. On like the lenses, there's a few like the goggles on the flyboys as well. So basically the last few touches are the bases are going to be inked non-oil, and the the skulls and teeth are going to be dry brushed white scar. Oh, and the lens is going to be dry brushed white scar as well. Important point with the bases is, so I like having mud effects on my bases. So the way I do that is I paint them non-oil, but I don't shake it first, and it gives it a slightly shiny finish, which I think really works. And yeah, after that, base rims and painting the gun barrels, and they're done. They're basically done. So yeah, we are looking at about 9 hours 46 at the moment. So it'll be about 10 minutes then. It's not particularly long, this part. It's just doing all the finishing touches, which I'm doing now. Hooray! And yeah, if you do a decent ink, it gives I think quite a nice wet mud look, and dry brushing a shabby bone with white scar makes for a nice bleached bone look. As a little bit of a treat to myself, I've also painted the rockets on the Dread. They are Mephiston red, inked with Nuln oil. I just added them in just to give a bit of colour. I will probably go back to this army and paint like war paint and things on it, but this is more of a, getting it to at least a sort of tabletop ready state. Which, on that note, I just realised I've never actually mentioned this. The way I do bases is because it's very simple and very cheap, and I think it looks really good. It's just like polyfiller, like all-purpose filler. I put it on the base before I undercoat them, which kind of it locks it into place, and then Gorthor brown and a slightly shiny coat of Nuln oil. I think makes it look quite nice, like mud basically. But yeah, literally the last thing I need to do is I'm going to paint a little. It's all about on black now. Black dots on the gun barrels for the barrels, and Abaddon black on the rims just to finish off the bases. And yeah, we are done. We're at 10 hours 4 minutes, so probably about, let's call it 10 hours 20 minutes by the time we finish, maybe 10 and a half hours to have completed the entire combat patrol. And as the rims of the base slowly dry, that is a completed force. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these up on the gaming table just as a, so you can see what they look like as an actual army rather than just ranked up like two and two. And yeah, just a few final thoughts, just a couple of thoughts, ideas, and just general. Yeah. Also, just because I have been keeping time this entire time, that makes no sense. That is 10 hours, 37 minutes, and 40 seconds to paint an entire combat patrol. It took about an hour and a half to build it, so the entire thing, about 12 hours to complete. Let's shove these on the field, where they will look a little bit like this. Which, I'm not gonna lie, I actually think this looks really cool. Like, I love orcs. Orcs are my absolute favorite faction, and yeah, I really, really like this combat patrol too. I much prefer it to the new one, which is all beast snagger boys. Which I like the beast snagger boys. I mean, look at them. They're so cool. It's been a fun experience because I'm quite a quick painter anyway, but I really just wanted to show like the process of just like batch painting an entire army, like a whole combat patrol, 25 models. It's a big job, and I would be lying if I don't do the one a few times, especially painting the metals and the leathers. Specifically the base painting, when you get to inking, it's not that bad. But there were a few times when I did in fact want to die. But apart from that, no, it's very doable. This took me 3 nights to paint. I took a few breaks, especially when I just heavily inked a whole bunch of stuff. Mainly because it also, you can't sit down for 10 hours and paint, you'll go insane. But like 3 nights of about 3 hours each, done. Just blitz through. Again, I'll go back, do a bit of like war paint and things. I'm oscillating on the Death Dread about whether or not to leave it like that, because I like the sort of slightly manky bare metal finish. But yeah, I really like it. And also, I just wanted to share something, because I like the idea of, like, just showing new people, new players, that it's not, painting isn't that intimidating. Like, everything here, the most sort of advanced thing I did was a tiny amount of dry brushing, which you can look up tutorials. It is just wiping most of the paint off of your brush and going very quickly over it, over the area you want. It highlights raised areas, and that's basically it. I mean, everything else was just base layer and ink, and I just, anyone can do it. It's very, it's so simple, and I firmly believe that, if you're wondering if you should start painting, you absolutely can. I did no advanced techniques on these at all, and I think they look pretty good. If I say so myself, I think they're not going to win any prizes, but they will hold their own on a battlefield. They will look very cool, and also, just for anyone who's still feeling a little bit apprehensive about starting to paint, I wanted to share one last bit for anyone else anyone who actually managed to get all the way through the end of this video. And that is, I still own the first model that I ever painted, and I want to show you the first model I painted as an example of, like, where you start, where you're going, where you can end up. And this is from, like, 1993, and it is an OG second edition Space Marine. Now, this particular guy, if I go down further, can you see it? This was me thinking I was very, very clever. There's some battle damage there as well. See, this guy he's a Blood Angel. Specifically, he's a member of the Death Company. So what I did was I painted him entirely red, then painted his armor black again. And like I say, there's battle damage. He looks god awful. This children, for those of you who don't recognize it, is called the Goblin Green Base, and it ruled second edition. But from that, I will never win any awards, but it's just like, no one starts as an expert on these things, and I think the second you do start, to quote a famous scholar, kind of sucking at something is the first step on being kind of good at something. So if you're worried about starting, don't, just do it. Like, you cannot do worse than this. Admittedly, 1993, I would have been 7, but but still, like, I firmly believe that anyone can paint. I think this is incredibly easy. I wanted to do this, chuck out a little bit of positivity. So it's easy, it's fast, and it's cool. It's very cool, and I'm like, you don't have to do a whole bunch of, like, incredible detail to get good looking models. And like I said, I think he looks pretty nifty, if you ask me. Again, part of my wall, but I'm going to paint little bits on the little I think they're meant to be like mob symbols. That's why you put your mob markings on. So yeah, they'll get them. And yeah, I hope that this kind of inspires you. Actually, I'm going to keep them on. I hope this kind of inspires you to just like at least try painting. And just it's not a it's not as like big a deal as everyone says it is. Like I think I see a lot of like new people going, oh my god, it's going to be really hard. It's like it's you just take your time, but make sure. I would suggest batch painting. The larger the batch paint, the easier I find this job. Just because you can blitz through things quite quickly. But yeah, it's fun, it's easy, and I genuinely believe that anyone can do it. If I can, and I'm an idiot, you certainly can. You are smarter than me. You're smart enough to subscribe to this channel. In the meantime, tell you what, comment down below what was the first model you ever painted, and if you've never painted anything before, what's the first model you're going to paint now? And yeah, there you go. That's my call to action for the day. Just cool. Yeah, go out and do something artistic, paint some models, have fun, and of course, it's not going to zoom in on the gun barrel to make this joke easier. Subscribe or else. Thanks for watching. Night.